Man U are 2-0 down. Do you reckon they'll come back for that?
No, I can't see them coming back from that, no. What's that?
I don't know, I'll check it out. Navy! Stop right fire!
Was the guard correct to give a challenge? A. Yes, because doing so did not increase the risk of death or injury, and he was not under armed attack. B. Yes, you must always give a challenge. C. No, the men were armed and masked. D. No, the men were damaging the submarine and needed to be stopped immediately. Was the guard right to shoot the man? A. Yes, a challenge had been given. B. Yes, if he believed that there was an imminent threat to his life and lethal force was the only way to prevent the danger. C. No, he was not under armed attack and no shots had been fired. D. No, it was too dark to see clearly what the man had in his hand.
Stand up! Stand up!
The guard told the second man to stand up. On seeing his weapon, the guard shot him. Was the guard right to shoot him? A. Yes, the man should have dropped his weapon. B. Yes, as long as the guard fired an aimed shot. C. No, the guard had not issued another challenge first. D. No, unless the guard believed that the man posed an imminent threat to human life, and there was no other way to stop the threat. Afterwards, it was clear the first man's shot only had a torch in his hand. Was the guard right to shoot him? A. No, he should have taken more care to find out what the man was holding. B. No, a torch can't present an imminent threat to life. C. Yes, because they were trespassers. D. Yes, if the guard believed the torch was a weapon and his life was in imminent danger.
Okay, they're going to be working there, blocking it off both sides. Non-taxiways out for the rest of the day.
Roger.
He shouldn't be there. Chris, see that guy there with the bag? Yes, sir. You call the guard and get QRF out to him, he shouldn't be there.
Okay.
Alright, yeah, we've got an unidentified male on the southern disused.
What's the sky up to, man? Hey, what are you doing? Stop, stop, stop! Move! Everyone stop, stand still, put your hands up!
Could the guard have opened fire on first seeing the intruder? A. Yes, the intruder was trespassing on MOD property. B. Yes, the intruder was acting suspiciously.
C. No, if the guard believed the man posed no imminent threat to human life.
D. No, the guard had not given a challenge. When issuing a challenge, you must always A. Use the words stand still. B. Shout, Navy, Army, Air Force, stop or I fire. C. Shout, Navy, Army, Air Force, stop or I fire, or words to that effect.
D. None of the three answers above are correct.
Did the guard act within Card Alpha guidance? A. Yes, he took all precautions not to injure others. B. Yes, he fired only aimed shots. C. Yes, he fired no more rounds than were necessary. D. All of the three answers above are correct.
Could the guard have fired after the intruder dropped his weapon and ran away? Yes, he had to be stopped and questioned.
B. No, he would be stopped by the fence.
C. No, if the guard believed the intruder posed no imminent threat to human life. D. Yes, he had already fired at the guards.
It's okay, dude.
Air Force, stop right fire! Air Force, stop! Stand still! Get down on your knees!
Was the guard right not to open fire at the armed intruder? A. No, he should have protected the radar that was being destroyed. B. No, the intruder was armed. C. Yes, he was too far away to fire aimed shots.
D. Yes, if he believed the intruder's attack would not threaten human life.
Was the guard right to give a challenge?
A. No, the intruder would not have heard the challenge. B. Yes, no one was under armed attack and the challenge did not increase the risk to human life.
C. Yes, you must always issue a challenge. D. No, the intruder was armed and shooting, so no challenge was necessary. Can you use lethal force whilst guarding property? A. Yes, if it is secret equipment. B. No, you can never use lethal force when guarding property.
C. Yes, if the property is mission essential.
D. Yes, but only for the protection of human life.
When the intruder was running away, could the guards have shot him? A. Yes, because he was escaping. B. Yes, because he had damaged military property. C. No, you can never shoot somebody in the back. D. No, if they believed the intruder posed no imminent threat to human life.
Five.
Five? Sure, you get so easy. I'll tell you, I've been on the gate for about 3 hours. And then you get that. Anyway, who scratched the car?
Was the guard right to give a challenge at this stage? A. Yes, you must always give a challenge.
B. Yes, you must challenge, unless you are under armed attack, or it will increase the risk of death or injury.
C. No, the attacker had shot the sentry. D. No, it gave the armed men a chance to escape. Could the guard have opened fire at this stage? A. Yes, if he fired aimed shots. B. No, there was no imminent threat to human life.
C. No, he might damage the car.
D. Yes, the men had shot someone and needed to be stopped.
If the attacker turned and fired at the guards, could they fire back?
A. Yes, if they gave another challenge first. B. No, they might hit the driver.
C. Yes, if they believed that they were in imminent danger and there was no other way to stop the threat.
D. No, firearms must only be used as a last resort.
Go, go, go! Stop! Go, go, go! Stop! Army on fire!
The car stalled and the attackers ran. The guard gave a challenge but did not open fire. Was this the right thing to do? A. No, they were getting away and should have been stopped. B. No, they were still an imminent threat to human life. C. Yes, they were no longer on MOD property.
D. Yes, because the attackers were no longer an imminent threat to human life.
Hello, 4-3 Bravo, 4-3 Charlie, this is 1-0. Suspect mortar attack from the vicinity of the CO's house. Move to area 3 immediately, that is all.
Did the guard need to issue a challenge before opening fire? A. No. The guard and other soldiers were under armed attack.
B. No, the attackers would not have heard the challenge.
C. Yes, a challenge must always be issued before opening fire. D. Yes, it would give the attackers a chance to stop what they were doing. The guard shouted, "Halt, army, or I fire." Was this a correct challenge? A. No, he did not use the exact wording on card alpha. B. Yes, card alpha allows a challenge to be words to the effect of Navy, Army, Air Force, stop or I fire. C. Yes, the challenge was clear and loud, and that is all that is required. D. No, he should have said stop, not halt. Was the guard right to open fire?
A. No, because the mortar did not pose any threat to him. B. Yes, the attackers were a threat to human life, and there was no other way to prevent the danger.
C. Yes, they had to prevent the attackers escaping. D. No, the guard did not know if anyone had been hurt. Could the guard have fired at the van as it drove off?
A. Yes, but only if he fired at the tyres. B. Yes, the attackers had killed military personnel.
C. No, you cannot fire at a vehicle that is driving away.
D. No, the attackers were no longer an imminent threat to human life.
Take cover!
Should the guard have given a challenge before opening fire on the car?
A. No, because it would have increased the risk of death or grave injury. B. Yes, you must always issue a challenge before firing. C. No, the guard had aimed his weapon, so a challenge was not necessary. D. Yes, it would allow the attackers time to give themselves up.
Was he right to open fire?
A. No, because the gunman may not have intended to shoot at him. B. Yes, if he believed that there was an imminent threat to human life and there was no other way to stop the danger. C. Yes, you should always open fire on people carrying guns.
D. No, the gunman had not opened fire. Firearms can only be used
A.
as a last resort. B. Once you have issued a challenge. C. To protect yourself, not others.
D. All of the three answers above are correct. Should the guard have fired at the attacker as the car drove away? A. No, he might have hit the driver. B. Yes, to prevent future attacks. C. No, if he believed the attacker no longer posed an imminent threat to human life.
D. Yes, he missed the first time.
So I'll just go shopping, get a few beers in. Wait, what's that lad over there doing? Right, so he's got something in his bag. Wait, stop! Wait, stop! Say stop! Stop! It's an IED! Wolverine stuff or I'll shoot! We're all gonna die!
Could the guard have fired at the intruder as soon as the IED was seen in the bag? A. No, unless he believed that the intruder was about to detonate the IED, endangering human life, and there was no other way to prevent that danger. B. No, you can only fire at an intruder who has a firearm. C. Yes, the intruder had no right to be there. D. Yes, you must always fire at an intruder who has planted a bomb.
Was the guard right to open fire on the intruder when he held up the mobile phone? A. Yes, the challenge to stop had been ignored.
B. Yes, if he believed that the intruder was about to use it to detonate the IED and so posed an imminent threat to human life, and there was no other way to stop him.
C. Yes, the guard had to make sure the intruder would not escape.
D. All of the three answers above are correct. Did the guard need to give a challenge before he opened fire? A. Yes, you must always give a challenge before opening fire. B. Yes, you must only use firearms as a last resort. C. No, he was acting in self-defense and no challenge was necessary. D. No, it would have increased the risk of death or grave injury. You can only open fire if A. Someone is committing an act likely to endanger human life and there is no other way to stop the person. B. Someone is about to commit an act likely to endanger human life and there is no other way to stop the person. C. Both of the answers above are correct. D. You have issued a challenge.
Can you come and look at this? Something suspicious here. Someone's just coming out of the woods.
Right, okay, he's carrying a rifle. Look, Brooks.
So 4-1, this is 1-0, suspicious intruder at rear of guard room, QRF to deploy immediately, over.
1-0, suspect in view, heading to his lock stack now, over.
Oi mate, what are you doing? Put your weapon down.
What's the problem?
Put your weapon down.
Problem?
Put the weapon down. Put the weapon down and step away, sir. You're on MOD property. We'll check that up, sir. We'll check that up for you, sir. Thank you very much for your cooperation.
Could the guard have opened fire on the man with the rifle?
A. Yes. The man was on MOD property with a rifle.
B. Yes, the man had a rifle and did not respond to the challenge. C. Yes, if the guard judged that the man was about to shoot and endanger human life and there was nothing else he could do to stop him.
D. All of the three answers above are correct.
Was the guard right to issue a challenge? A. No, he did not know what the man was going to do. B. No, as the man had not fired his weapon.
C. Yes, because you must always give a challenge before opening fire. D. Yes, the guard was not under armed attack, and giving the challenge did not increase the risk of death or grave injury to himself or others. If the man had fired at the treetops as the guards approached, should they have A. Given a challenge and then opened fire? B. Given a challenge and only opened fire if they believed the man was a threat to human life and there was no other way to stop him? C. Opened fire because the man had a weapon? D. Opened fire because the man was on MOD property?
If you decide to open fire, you must A. Fire as many rounds as possible. B. Always fire a warning shot first. C. Fire only aimed shots. D. Always give a challenge first.
One Alpha, QRF my location now. Out. Around the corner, Lee! Get off!
How do you like it?
Army, stop or I'll fire!
Should the protesters have been shot when they climbed the fence? A. Yes, they are about to trespass on MOD property. B. No, you cannot shoot a protester.
C. No, unless the guard believed that they posed an imminent threat to human life and there was no other way to stop the threat.
D. Yes, you should always fire at intruders climbing over a perimeter fence.
Did the guard need to give a challenge before firing? A. Yes, unless he thought it would increase the risk of death or grave injury to himself or others. B. Yes, you must always give a challenge before firing.
C. No, the protester was armed.
D. No, the intruder was trespassing. Was the guard right to open fire on the protester? A. No, she should have been arrested. B. No, you should never open fire on protesters. C. Yes, you should always open fire on an armed intruder. D. Yes, if he believed that she posed an imminent threat to human life and there was no other way to remove that threat. When the guard opened fire, his actions were correct because A. He fired only aimed shots. B. He fired no more rounds than were necessary. C. He took all reasonable precautions not to injure anyone other than his target. D. All of the three answers above are correct.
Quiet one again.
It is quite quiet, isn't it?
Come down the bowl tonight, mate.
Yeah, we know that's when
Couple
the
of
shift's
bevies,
finished.
rather than doing this.
Not long to go.
Right,
Excuse me. Excuse me. What are you doing there? Oh! Oh, jeez!
Oh! Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
Could the guard open fire as the intruder was running away? A. Yes, because the other guard had been shot.
B. Yes, because the intruder was running away.
C. Yes, but only if he believed that the intruder posed an imminent threat to human life and there was no other way to stop the danger.
D. No, he had not given a challenge. Was the guard right to open fire on the second intruder?
A. No, it was too dark to fire aimed shots.
B. Yes, he had a gun and it was dark. C. Yes, because he looked like a terrorist.
D. Yes, the intruder posed an imminent threat to human life and there was no other way to prevent the danger.
Should the guard have given a challenge to the armed intruder? A. Yes, you must always give a challenge. B. Yes, the intruder may not have seen him. C. No, the intruder had already shot the other guard.
D. No, if the guard believed that by giving a challenge he would increase the risk of death or grave injury to himself.
If you open fire, you are to A. Fire no more rounds than necessary. B. Fire only aimed shots. C. Take all reasonable precautions not to injure anyone other than your target.
D. All of the three answers above are correct.
Okay, thanks very much. Right there. Okay, thank you very much. What's going on there then? That looks a bit dodgy. There it is. Okay then. Thanks very much. Stop! 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 Stop!
Was the guard right to make ready? A. No, you should only make a weapon ready after you have given a challenge.
B. Yes, it was a reasonable action in the situation.
C. Yes, the vehicle was going very fast.
D. No, you should never make your weapon ready unless you want to fire.
Should the guard have given a challenge?
A. Yes, unless he believed the challenge would increase the risk of death or grave injury. B. No, because the vehicle did not stop. C. No, the unarmed guard had already told the van driver to stop.
D. Yes, he was about to open fire.
Was the guard right to open fire as the van drove towards the security guard? A. Yes, because the security guard had instructed the van driver to stop.
B. Yes, the van was speeding.
C. Yes, if he believed that the van was a danger to the security guard's life and there was no other way to stop the threat.
D. No, you cannot fire on a moving vehicle.
Was the guard right to continue firing at the driver as he drove the van onto the base?
A. Yes, the van was getting away. B. Yes, he fired only aimed shots.
C. Yes, if he believed there was an imminent threat to human life on the base and there was no other way to prevent the danger.
D. No, you cannot fire at a moving vehicle. Should the guard have given a challenge before opening fire? A. No, the troops by the helicopters were under armed attack.
B. No, because he only fired aimed shots.
C. Yes, he was not under attack.
D. Yes, you must always issue a challenge before opening fire. If the guards believed that there were no people in or by the helicopters, would the guards' actions have been correct?
A. Yes, the helicopter was under armed attack. B. Yes, the guard might have come under attack. C. No, When guarding property, you must not use lethal force other than for the protection of human life. D. No, you should never fire without giving a challenge. Could the guard shoot the second attacker as he made his escape? A. Yes, the attacker had been involved in an armed attack. B. Yes, a challenge had been given. C. No, he was off the base and there were civilians around.
D. No, unless he believed that the man posed an imminent threat to human life and there was no other way to prevent the danger. Which of these statements is true? A. Intruders must be shot if they are carrying firearms. B. If you shoot at an intruder, fire as many rounds as possible. C. You should use no more force than is absolutely necessary. D. You should always fire a warning shot as a challenge.
Was that after 8 minutes? They must have gutted. Who's this coming?
I may have to get some stores for you, Emmys.
Say again. Right, mate, what you got there?
I'll just get some stores here for your afters.
Navy, stop or I fire! Put the gun on the ground! Put the gun on the ground! Put the gun on the ground!
Should the guard have opened fire as soon as he saw the workman's gun? A. Yes, the man had a weapon. B. Yes, the other guard was unarmed and was therefore vulnerable. C. No, you must always give a challenge first. D. No, unless the guard believed that there was an imminent threat to human life and there was no other way to prevent the danger. Did the guard have to give the challenge before he could open fire?
A. Yes, you must always give a challenge. B. No, because he had made ready his weapon. C. No, he was protecting the unarmed guard. D. Yes, giving the challenge did not increase the risk to himself or the other guard. The guard made ready, but did not open fire even though the workman had a gun. Why?
A. Because you can only open fire against a person who is threatening you and when there is no other way to prevent the danger.
B. Because you can only open fire when you have already been shot at.
C. Because you can only open fire against a person who you believe is endangering human life and when there is no other way to prevent the danger.
D. Because you can only open fire if someone else is attacked.
What action could a guard have taken if the workman had ignored the challenge and brought his weapon up to aim? A. Issued another challenge and then waited to see what the workman did next. B. Opened fire, but only if the attacker shot first. C. opened fire if he believed that the workman was an imminent threat to his life and there was no other way he could stop the threat. D. Dropped his weapon and put his hands up.
As long as the weather's fine, that's the main thing, isn't it? End up down the Barbican or something like that. Be very nice, wouldn't it? Very nice. Do you mind getting out your car, please, so I can check your boots?
There, mate. I'm a bit of a
No,
rush.
I'm sorry, it's security and that. You can check all vehicles in and out. If you don't get checked, you can't come in. Gun! Army, stop or I fire! Army, stop or I fire! Get out of the car! Get out, let me see your hands! Get them up! Get down on the floor! Get down!
Was the guard right to give the first challenge to the armed man? A. No, it only confused the situation.
B. Yes, you must always issue a challenge before firing.
C. Yes, it covered his back in the event of an inquiry.
D. Yes, if the guard believed that a challenge would not increase the risk of death or grave injury. Was the guard right to give a second challenge when his first had been ignored? A. No. By taking the time to give a second challenge, the guard increased the risk of death or grave injury to himself and his unarmed colleague.
B. Yes, a second challenge should always be given before opening fire. C. Yes, it gave time for the situation to calm down. D. Yes, the armed man may not have heard the first challenge.
Could the guard have fired at the passenger in the vehicle? A. Yes, to stop him escaping. B. Yes, the passenger was accompanying an armed intruder. C. Yes, but only if he believed that the passenger was an imminent threat to human life and there was no other way of stopping him. D. No, unless he had first issued a challenge to him. Guards can act in A. Self-defense. B. In defense of a gate guard. C. In defense of any other person. D. All of the three answers above are correct.